Good morning. You're watching News for Hearing Impaired. I'm Preeti. With me is Manisha. First, the headlines. India and the European Union agreed to create high-level ministerial dialogue to give push to the stalled negotiations on bilateral trade and investment agreement. Also agreed to enhance naval cooperation in the Indian Ocean region. Pakistan-sponsored terrorism and India-China face-off in Ladakh figure in the talks. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says the mantra to stay relevant in a post-COVID world is skill, reskill and upskill. He tells people on the 5th anniversary of Skill India mission that more than 50 million Indians have been skilled so far. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh to visit forward areas of Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh from tomorrow. Army Chief M.M. Narvane to accompany Defence Minister. Flood situation grim in Assam and Bihar. 66 dead and 40 lakh people affected in Assam. Flood waters disrupt normal life in many districts of Bihar. Political crisis continues to brew in Rajasthan. Congress party issues notice to Sachin Pilot and 18 other MLAs, threatens disqualification from assembly. Pilot says he won't quit Congress. Recovery rate from COVID-19 disease climbs to 63.24% in India. Bihar under complete lockdown till 31st July, a 7-day lockdown in Bengaluru. U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo says State Department to impose visa restrictions on employees of Chinese technology companies involved in providing surveillance equipment to repressive regimes. Move comes a day after UK banned Chinese tech giant Huawei for 5G technology. Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Wednesday co-chaired the 15th India-European Union Summit via a video conference. The summit took place in the backdrop of COVID-19 pandemic, which was one of the key focus areas for India and the European Union. In his address, Prime Minister said that India-European Union partnership could play an important role during COVID-19 crisis by working together for a human-centric globalization.
कोविड-19 के बाद आर्थिक क्षेत्र में वैश्विक स्तर पर नई समस्याएं उत्पन्न हो गई। इसके लिए डेमोक्रेटिक राष्ट्रों के बीच अधिक सहयोग की आवश्यकता हम सब महसूस करते हैं। आज हमारे नागरिकों की सेहत और समृद्धि दोनों ही चुनौतियों का सामना कर रहे हैं। रूल्स बेस्ड इंटरनेशनल ऑर्डर पर विभिन्न प्रकार के दबाव है। ऐसे में भारत ईयू पार्टनरशिप आर्थिक पुनर्निर्माण में और एक मानव केंद्रित और मानवता केंद्रित ग्लोबलाइजेशन के निर्माण में महत्वपूर्ण भूमिका निभा सकती है।
Long-term challenges such as climate change and clean energy were also a priority for India and the European Union. The scope for European investments and technologies in India's renewable energy sector was highlighted. Trade and investment also figured in the talks.
तत्कालीन चुनौतियों के अलावा क्लाइमेट चेंज जैसे लॉन्ग टर्म चैलेंजेस भी हम दोनों के लिए ही प्राथमिकता है। भारत में रिन्यूएबल एनर्जी के उपयोग को बढ़ाने के हमारे प्रयत्नों में हम यूरोप के इन्वेस्टमेंट और टेक्नोलॉजी का आमंत्रण करते हैं।
European Union Council President Charles Michel said that India and the European Union were two democracies with common shared values. He called for intensifying multilateral cooperation on issues such as counterterrorism. There were a number of significant takeaways from India-European Union summit. In the first important outcome, India and the European Union agreed to resume negotiations on a bilateral free trade agreement called the Broad-Based Trade and Investment Agreement. They agreed to establish a high-level ministerial dialogue to provide guidance to the bilateral trade and investment relations and to address multilateral issues of mutual interest. This high-level dialogue will aim at fostering progress on trade and investment agreements, addressing trade irritants, and improving conditions for traders and investors on both sides, as well as discuss supply chain linkages. The second important outcome was the convergence of ideas on the Indian Ocean region. India and the European Union agreed to launch a dialogue on maritime security and consultations on security and defense, and also to enhance naval cooperation.
During the 15th summit discussions today, one of the most important outcomes was the setting up of this high-level dialogue on trade and investment relations, which will discuss all trade and market issues as well as supply chain linkages. The two sides have expressed their commitment and agreed to work for a balanced, ambitious, and mutually beneficial trade and investment agreements. The high-level dialogue, which will be held in the coming months, is expected to provide high-level guidance and directions to take these two agreements forward.
India and the European Union also agreed to implement the India-Euratom Agreement on research and development cooperation in the field of peaceful use of nuclear energy.
The leaders also welcomed the conclusion of an agreement between Euratom, which is the European Atomic Energy Community, and India for cooperation in research and development in the fields of peaceful uses of nuclear energy.
As the world fights COVID-19 pandemic, India and the European Union agreed that global cooperation and solidarity are essential to protect lives and to mitigate the socio-economic consequences of the pandemic. Prime Minister,
recognizing each other's strength and mutual synergies, such as our role in pharmaceuticals and research, the EU and India agreed to intensify cooperation in response to the coronavirus, including on accessibility and affordability of COVID-19 tools. Both President Michel and President von der Leyen greatly appreciated the timely assistance provided by India in terms of supply of medicines to EU countries. They sought India's active engagement in the initiative of universal and affordable vaccines for all.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi also said that mantra for staying relevant in a post-COVID world is skill, reskill and upskill. The Prime Minister was speaking at Digital Skills Conclave on Wednesday on the occasion of World Youth Skills Day and the 5th anniversary of Skill India Mission. Prime Minister's message to the youngsters: skill, reskill and upskill to remain relevant in the rapidly changing business environment and market conditions. The PM stated that the world belongs to them due to their ability to acquire new skills all the time.
रिलेवेंट रहने का मंत्र है स्किल, रीस्किल और अपस्किल। स्किल का अर्थ है आप कोई नया हुनर सीखें, जैसे कि आपने लकड़ी के एक टुकड़े से कुर्सी बनाना सीखा तो आपका हुनर हुआ। आपने लकड़ी के उस टुकड़े की कीमत भी बढ़ा दी, वैल्यू एडिशन किया। लेकिन ये कीमत बनी रहे, इसके लिए नई डिजाइन, नई स्टाइल, यानी रोज कुछ नया जोड़ना पड़ता है। उसके लिए नया सीखते रहना पड़ता है, और कुछ नया सीखते रहने का मतलब ही है रीस्किल। और हमारी जो स्किल है उसका और विस्तार करना। जैसे छोटे मोटे फर्नीचर बनाते बनाते आप और भी चीजें सीखते गए, पूरा का पूरा ऑफिस डिजाइन करने लग गए, तो वो हो गया अपस्किल। स्किल, रीस्किल और अपस्किल का ये मंत्र जानना, समझना और उसका पालन करना हम सभी के जीवन में बहुत महत्वपूर्ण है।
The Prime Minister also brought out the distinction between knowledge and skills in his address. He further highlighted the potential of the country to capitalize on the skilling opportunities available in the country.
आज भारत में नॉलेज और स्किल दोनों में जो अंतर है उसे समझते हुए ही काम हो रहा है। आज से 5 साल पहले आज के ही दिन स्किल इंडिया मिशन इसी सोच के साथ शुरू किया गया था। इसका मकसद यही था कि यूथ को नॉलेज के साथ ही स्किल भी मिले, कौशल भी मिले। इसके लिए देश भर में सैकड़ों प्रधानमंत्री कौशल विकास केंद्र खोले गए, ITI की संख्या बढ़ाई गई, उनमें लाखों नई सीट्स जोड़ी गई। इस दौरान 5 करोड़ से ज्यादा लोगों को स्किल डेवलपमेंट किया जा चुका है और ये अभियान निरंतर जारी है।
Raksha Mantri Rajnath Singh will visit forward areas of Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh on July 17th and 18th. Army Chief General M.M. Narvane will accompany him. During his 2-day visit, the Raksha Mantri will review the security situation in eastern Ladakh. This will be Defence Minister's first visit to Ladakh since the face-off with China commenced. Union Home Minister Amit Shah on Wednesday said that safety of women and children is the topmost priority of the Narendra Modi government. The Home Minister in a tweet said, and I quote him, "The safety and security of women and children is the topmost priority of Modi government. There is also a special provision on cybercrime.gov.in to report cyber crimes against women and children. You can visit the portal to report any such incident." This portal is an initiative of the central government to facilitate victims and complainants to report cybercrime complaints online. The portal caters to complaints pertaining to cybercrimes only with special focus on cybercrimes against women and children. The complaints reported on this portal are dealt by law enforcement agencies and police based on the information available in the complaints. Flood situation in Assam remains grim, with 26 districts affected, where 3,376 villages under 93 revenue circles are still reeling underwater. As flood water has inundated some more areas in the last 24 hours, number of affected people rose to over 35 lakh in the state. Barpeta remains the worst hit district with 5,29,879 affected population, followed by Goalpara and Morigaon districts with above 4 lakh affected in each district. With 7 more deaths reported yesterday, death toll goes up to 66 this year due to floods. Water level in the rivers are still above the danger mark across the state, and more than 1,27,000 hectares of cropland are submerged. In Guwahati too, water in Brahmaputra river is flowing above the danger mark. However, search and rescue operations are being carried out with full strength by NDRF and SDRF using 180 boats in the state. and 3,991 marooned people have been shifted to safer places. Flood situation in Bihar is also grim. Almost all the major rivers in the state are in spate. The situation in the lower areas of Gandak River is particularly grim due to the release of more than 300,000 cusecs of water from Valmiki Gandak Barrage in West Champaran. People from low-lying areas have been shifted to safer places. Rail and road communication are disrupted due to rains. Boats remain the only mode of transport in some areas. Also, Mumbai has been witnessing heavy rains since Tuesday, and incidents of water logging were reported from some parts of the city, including Wadala, Dadar, Hindmata, Sion, Andheri subway, resulting in minor traffic diversions. With the reduced intensity of rains since yesterday, water has receded from most areas. IMD forecasts heavy rains trend to continue today with little reduced intensity. High tide will hit the city seas at 9:17 a.m. with waves measuring 3.43 meters. It has been advised not to venture close to the sea or in waterlogged areas. And political drama continues in Rajasthan. Chief Minister Ashok Gehlot has kept up his attack on his ousted deputy Sachin Pilot, even as Congress party appeared to extend an olive branch to the rebels. Meanwhile, Rajasthan Speaker has issued notices to Sachin Pilot and 18 other party members after Congress party sought their disqualification from the State Assembly. Pilot and the party members have 2 days to respond to the notices. Former Rajasthan Deputy Chief Minister, however, said that he will not quit the Congress party. In Bihar, a complete lockdown has been imposed for 16 days in the entire state to contain the spread of COVID-19. The lockdown will be effective till 31st of July. The decision has been taken due to an alarming spike in COVID-19 cases in the state during the last 3 weeks. During this period, all government offices, public corporations and educational institutions will remain closed in the state. Private and commercial establishments will also remain closed. However, ration shops, dairy, vegetables and meat shops will remain open. All places of worship will also remain closed and religious gatherings will not be permitted. Bihar has reported about 20,000 COVID-19 cases and more than 170 deaths. A week-long shutdown has been imposed in Bengaluru, urban and rural districts. The lockdown will be enforced till 22nd of July. All forms of public transport, including buses, metros and taxis, are banned. Only emergency services are exempt. E-commerce companies are allowed to operate between 5 a.m. and 8 p.m. Similarly, food delivery is also allowed between 5 a.m. and 10 p.m. Interstate and intra-state road travel is not allowed, but domestic flights and trains will operate. Recovery rate from COVID-19 infection has now climbed up to 63.24% across the country, and the recovered cases reached close to 6 lakh. The Ministry of Health and Family Welfare said that 20,572 people infected from the virus were cured during the last 24 hours, taking the total number of recovered cases to 5,92,031. The ministry said that the surge in recovered cases is driven by aggressive testing, timely diagnosis and effective management of the patients, either through supervised home isolation or under active medical attention at the hospitals. With 865 labs in the government sector and 358 private labs, the total number of testing labs in the country is 1,223. During the last 24 hours, 3,20,161 samples have been tested. World Health Organization, in its guidance note on public health criteria to adjust public health and social measures in the context of COVID-19, has advised comprehensive surveillance for suspected cases. WHO has advised that a country needs 140 tests per day per million population. The Union Health Ministry has said that 22 states and union territories in the country are already conducting 140 and more tests per day per million and are being regularly advised to increase the testing capacity to match the WHO advised levels of testing. Up next, the global updates on COVID-19. COVID-19 has claimed the lives of over 5.83 lakh people worldwide, while over 1.35 crore people have contacted the infection so far. US and Brazil remain worst affected in terms of COVID-19 infections and fatalities. The US has so far recorded over 34.95 lakh cases and over 1.37 lakh deaths, while Brazil has recorded over 19.66 lakh infections and over 75,366 deaths. Talking of death toll worldwide, US and Brazil are followed by United Kingdom with over 45,138 fatalities, further followed by Mexico, Italy and France. The United States continues to be the most affected country due to COVID-19 pandemic. As cases surge in California, Texas, Arizona, Florida and elsewhere, bars and restaurants with indoor dining face new shutdown orders. Meanwhile, San Francisco indefinitely postponed the reopening of indoor dining at 50% capacity. Oklahoma's governor on Wednesday diagnosed with COVID-19 as the new COVID-19 infections in his state and neighboring Texas surged by record numbers for a second straight day. Meanwhile, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis said that he is sending 1,000 medical workers to Miami-Dade County to battle the rising cases of COVID-19. He dismissed criticism that some labs had only reported positive test results. Florida, an epicenter of the latest surge in cases, on Wednesday reported another 10,000 new infections. Just a day after COVID-19 positive Brazilian President Jair Bolsonaro was seen out of his official residence to feed birds still recovering from the virus, President Bolsonaro was again seen out on the grounds of Alvorada Palace to watch the flag ceremony at his official residence. With ceremonial soldiers marching by, he managed to wave and greet the media gathered there from a distance. Bolsonaro announced that he had tested positive on July 7th. However, he has been reported to be in good health apparently after taking the unproven drug hydroxychloroquine. Twitter accounts belonging to prominent personalities like Joe Biden, Bill Gates, Elon Musk, Barack Obama and Apple, among other prominent handles, were compromised on Wednesday and posted tweets that appear to promote cryptocurrency scam. Twitter is investigating the matter and would be issuing a statement shortly. The accounts, along with those of former US President Barack Obama, rapper Kanye West, among others, posted similar tweets soliciting donations via Bitcoin to their verified profiles on Wednesday. Some of the tweets were swiftly deleted, but there appeared to be a struggle to regain control of several of the accounts. Publicly available blockchain records show that the apparent scammers have already received more than $100,000 worth of cryptocurrency. Meanwhile, Jack Dorsey, Twitter CEO, has tweeted, and I quote him, "Tough day for us at Twitter. We all feel terrible this happened. We are diagnosing and will share everything we can when we have a more complete understanding of exactly what happened. To our teammates working hard to make this right." In sports, World Cup fans will be able to watch an unprecedented 4 games a day on television, spread out over 11 hours during the group stage of 2022 FIFA World Cup after the schedule was confirmed on Wednesday. With the relatively short travel distances for the venues in and around Doha, it could be possible for fans who travel to the 32-team tournament to attend multiple games each day. The tournament's opening game on November 21st will be at 60,000 capacity Al Bayt Stadium with its distinctive tent-style covering. The final on December 18th will be held at the 80,000 Lusail Stadium, which will also host a semi-final. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo on Wednesday announced visa restrictions on employees of Chinese technology companies, including Huawei, in the latest Trump administration move against Beijing. That's it in this edition of the News This Hour. Thanks for watching. Namaskar.